she says that she can only drink water.
Are you worried about her story? Like, should I...
No, you can talk to her. She seems like a really sweet girl, 22 or something, has a lot of anxiety, and from what she's claiming, she's the full-on aggressor here.
That's kind of what he said.
I'd love to go talk to the independent witnesses, and maybe that's what I'll go do.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple waters. Here's this bag, because you might need that for someone else. I know to keep her rings, the phone, and I was holding on to the keys because I didn't want to go anywhere. And my big fear is, I don't have my phone, I don't have a phone, so she goes off without me. But it's alright, I'm on my own. So I was saying, let's just go for a walk, and she was trying to get the keys for me, so I was just going, just wait back up, and then that's when she hit me, and I didn't get, I don't want to push you, I didn't get completely physical, I'm just trying to keep her away and not get hit. And then I got really loud, and I just like fear this attention where I was going, back up, get away, just get me.
Okay, so you said you pushed her to create some distance, obviously, right? What happened after that? What kind of distraction?
Okay, Google. Police, how are you? Hey, we got this van stopped, and we've separated the male and the female, and we got both of their stories. Now that we're not looking for them so intensely, I was just wondering if you had a minute to just kind of repeat to me what it is exactly you saw.
No problem, sir. Yeah, so I was talking to my friend across the street near the Forest Service building, and I just noticed that this couple was sort of arguing a bit. And, I wasn't staring at them, but it did catch my attention. And what I noticed is it seemed like they were sort of squabbling over a phone. I want to say that he was trying to grab her phone, and I'm not sure exactly why. And then it seemed like he had sort of blocked the one side of the van and sort of wasn't letting her in. And then the male was stepping into the driver's seat, and she was trying to get into the van. I think he said something about, why are you being so mean, something like that. And I remember she sort of hit him a few times, and it wasn't like slugs in the face, but just kind of like two kids kind of fighting. They reminded me of very secure, I don't know, children sort of fighting. But there seemed like something was off, and it seemed like a weird vibe. And eventually he's like, she crawled into the driver's seat, sort of like got into the vehicle over his lap, sort of forced her way in, I guess. And then they were in the car, and then they just drove away. So I wasn't sure what the nature of the argument was or what. It just seems like there was some sort of disagreement and some sort of like shutting. I don't know why she would have entered through the driver's door. I thought that was strange. So I thought about calling it in, but as soon as I walked up this bar, there was another gentleman who was already calling it in, so I was like, oh, good on you. That seemed a bit off. I wasn't sure what to do in that situation, but that's what I saw, and if there's any other specific questions, I'm happy to try to answer.
Did you ever see the male strike the female?
I would say that I think I saw maybe a push or a shove, but not like a full-on punch to the face or anything.
Was the shove was the shove or push an aggression towards her, or was it a defensive maneuver away from her, or to get her away from him?
That's a good question. It was unclear what was going on to me, but it did seem like he was. It seemed like he was trying to close off the passenger side of the vehicle and close things up. It almost seemed like he put that backpack or something on the back of the vehicle. I'm not sure. And then he was stepping in and she was out. She was trying to get in. So maybe
Okay.
I don't. It was the whole thing was off, and so no, I didn't see anything that was like him chasing after her or hitting her or vice versa. It was kind of light, and they were almost kind of laughing, and I wasn't sure if they were just joking around, to be honest. But then it got more strange as he was in the vehicle about to drive off.
But you did see her slapping him, though, it sounds like.
Yes, it was like, my memory is he was in the driver's seat, and she has the driver's door open, and she was like kind of hitting him either in the arm or maybe on the face, maybe with an open hand, like, hey, let me in, don't be a jerk, something like that.
Okay. Well, you know, your story is really, really helpful because you're an independent witness, and we've just interviewed both of them. And what you're saying is making everything make a lot of sense. So I really appreciate that I ran into you and that I was able to get your number and talk to you. So thank you very much. If we need to ask for a written statement, obviously it's voluntary, it's helpful, but at this point I don't know if we need to go that far unless you're around and super willing at this moment. I can meet you and get a statement.
Yeah, no, I live here, totally willing to do that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Maybe I'll just go, I can go write it down now before memory fades, because like I said, I was kind of just casually observing, but something did seem off, and just wanted to make sure that no one was in a bad situation. So
where can we find you to give you a form real quick? About 10-15 minutes.
Okay, cool. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, bye.
Hey, Robin. So I just got off the phone with one of the two witnesses, and I recorded it. Do you want me to tell you what he said real quick? Do you mind hanging with him for a minute? So, I guess we'll get away from both of them. So, he said that he never saw the male strike the female. He saw the male trying to lock her out of the vehicle. She even told us that he was trying to lock her out, told her to go take a walk, said that she was trying to get in. She eventually couldn't get in and actually clawed her way in through the driver's door. He says, I don't understand why she's doing that. Well, I think it's because it was the only door that wasn't locked that she could get through. So she's trying to get in over him. He's trying to disengage from her. I guess he hung her backpack on the back probably so she'd have her shit so that he didn't have to engage with her. Everything she's saying is the same thing. I haven't heard what he said, but if that's what he said, it's also what the witness is saying. The witness says, I never saw him hit her. I saw him shove her, but I couldn't tell if it was an aggression against her or a defense against her as far as her, being the aggressor. So at this point, unless the guy's screaming that he needs to go to jail and did something to this girl, it sounds to me like she is the primary aggressor.
Yeah.
Now the problem with her being the primary aggressor is in incidents of domestic assault, be it a male or be it a female, we shall arrest. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to go to jail. We can do a citation if it meets one of 3 criterion, which one of them is that we can ensure that they're not going to further risk each other's safety. But the problem with that is they live in the same vehicle.
That's what I was going to say. The other part of it is
there was actually been injury too to the victim, which is him.
Right, and I'm getting conflicting stories about why they hit the curb up here.
What did he say why he hit the curb?
Well, I watched, this is what I saw. Saw him cross the double yellow. I was doing 42 miles an hour. I was, probably 2 car lengths behind him, tapping my wheels at him, trying to get his attention. They knew I was behind him. And then after he crossed the double yellow, he merged over into the right lane, and then out of nowhere, just boom, hit the curb.
So did he tell you why?
He said that she grabbed the wheel and turned it real hard. She said that she was hitting him in the arm. So
sounds legit. I mean, I'm sure if I'm driving and my arm's on the wheel and I'm getting hit in the arm, I'm probably pulling out the wheel.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was a little of both. I mean, usually the truth is somewhere in between. He's probably trying not to say that he hit her because he probably doesn't want her charged with assault, domestic assault. He probably would rather say she pulled the wheel than hit him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, unfortunately for her, we cannot treat, just because he's bigger and stronger, and even if he's not willing to press charges, we can't treat this differently than if it was a male and female violence.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to charge her. And we can do a citation if there's some arrangement that can be made to separate them, and then we have to let them know that there's no contact order in effect.
And then we had to let him know the only way to drop it is to go into the police department during business hours and fill out a waiver, which, by the way, what's
It's
today?
too late
Thursday?
today.
So it won't be till tomorrow. And they're only there till noon, I think.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he's going to want to drop it.
Well, the other part of it is they said they've been on 4 or 5 months that they've been living out of the van together.
Well, this is really bad news, so let's talk to him first.
Yeah.
His name's Brian. Did you ask him yet and take pictures of him? Yeah?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So Brian, unfortunately in the state of Utah, we don't have discretion on some things. Like, for example, if I pull you over for speeding and I want to give you a warning, I can do that because it's under a Class A, it's a Class B or under. If I want to give you warnings for all kinds of stuff, I can, but there's a few things I can't. Like, when I say I, the police, I'm not in charge of this. One of the things that the state legislature doesn't give us discretion on is charges when it comes to a domestic assault. And it sounds like you guys are living together, so you meet the statute for domestic partners, and you do have injury, and both an independent witness, probably the next one we're going to talk to as well, which we haven't talked to yet, but the one we did talk to, and your own companion have made it clear that she was the primary aggressor, and that she was striking you and that you received injuries. You haven't admitted to striking her. She has not admitted to you striking her. The witness did not see you strike her. So at this point, you're the victim of a domestic assault. That even if you didn't want to pursue this, we don't have a choice. The best thing we could do to not, the law says we have to charge her. It doesn't say we have to put her in jail. Okay, but it also says we have to separate, do a no contact order, and that we have to put her in jail if we cannot separate. And there's a little problem here. Is you guys live out of Florida, living in the van together. How are we supposed to separate you guys? Now, I don't want to take this small 20. What is she?
Yes, a 22-year-old.
22-year-old female in jail.
jail.
That you could definitely defend yourself against, but at the same time, we can't say because you're a male and she's a female, we can't treat this different than if you were the male hitting her. We got to treat it the same.
Yeah, no.
So she's kind of in a tough spot. So unless you have an idea about how she can not go to jail and be separated, do you have friends in town? Somewhere she can stay? Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You can
go to jail?
You can't because we don't have a charge for you. Now tomorrow, if you wanted to be with her again tomorrow,
I'm gonna take your radio.
if you want to be with her again tomorrow, because it's after 5, so our office is closed, you can go to the police department, fill out a waiver to drop the no contact order, so you guys can still be together. But she's gonna have a court date online in a week or two. She's gonna have to show up for her court date online and answer. The prosecutor might drop it. They might say, for example, if you're not willing to pursue it, if that's your decision.
Anyway, I was going to say, it definitely is. I'm not going to pursue anything. She's my fiance. I love her. It's just a little squabble. I'm sorry that I had to get so public.
Stuff happens.
So I just want to get like the checklist of things I got to do to get rid of it. So
if you want her back,
date.
Well, she'll get a paper with a court date.
How do I get rid of it?
Well, the court date has to be attended in order for them to decide whether they need to continue or drop it. The first is just an initial appearance to say, are you who we think you are? Yes. Do you understand the charge that's been brought against you? Yes or no? Yes or no? The answer. Do you have an attorney? Yes or no? Do you need one? And then from there, she can ask to speak with the prosecutor. The prosecutor might be contacting you and say, hey man, I know she's 110 pounds soaking wet and you're a big strong guy and we understand you're not even wanting to pursue this, but the cops have to follow the statute. How, what in the interest of you, of justice for you as a victim, what do you think? And they can decide to still prosecute her, or they can decide to drop it, or they can decide to give her a plea and make it kind of go away if she behaves from now on. But that still does not eliminate the first court appearance that she has to attend, which thankfully for you guys is going to be online, so you don't have. So if you're out of town, here's the thing: if you're out of town and she doesn't come into our court appearance online, they can suspend her driver's license, they can issue a warrant for her. So she needs to play ball and go.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And we're a team. Me and her are a team. I'm sorry about all this. I apologize again. But so she's got her online court date just to acknowledge that she's hurt, and then she's got the one for the.
Well, there's automatically right now there is something called a no contact order in place.
Yeah.
From this point forward until tomorrow, if you wish to drop it, you have to go into the 217 East Center Street, Moab City Police Department, and you have to ask. We'll give it to you. You want to fill out a waiver that you're requesting a waiving of the contact order, the no contact order. The no contact order means she cannot come into contact with you, she cannot talk to you, she cannot text you, she cannot go onto any premises that you're occupying, she cannot go to your vehicle. And until you drop that or until court date, If you don't drop it, it stays in effect until midnight on the day of court. And then that gives you time to get a protective order, a long-term one, if you feel like you need one. But it sounds like you don't even want this one. So tomorrow, they open at 8. You can go in the police department. You can fill out the waiver. They can remove it. Then you can say, hey, babe, where you at? Let me pick you up. And you can pick her up. Now, we're hoping not to put her in jail, but if she doesn't have somewhere to go tonight to be separate from you, then where are we supposed to
I can't talk to her now because of the separation.
There's
right?
no contact order now.
So tell me this: do you guys have enough money for like a hotel room or anything like that? Because what we could do is we'd cite her for this, and then I'd give her a ride over to whatever hotel you guys is choosing.
You can pick her up there tomorrow if you want to drop the no contact.
On your way to go pick her up, you stop over there at the PD, sign the paperwork that they're requesting, and then you can go pick her up quite literally within minutes.
Unless you know someone else in town that's a friend that she can stay with.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not. I don't, and I guess that...
Man, I sure hate to... I don't want her to go to jail.
Will it be... If she goes to jail, it's like... that goes down somewhere instead of her going to a hotel, right? If you did a citation, it would be...
It kind of depends. So if she goes to jail, they're going to book her. And they'll take her fingerprints, and it's going to go on her criminal history. And then if they don't convict her, then it will just show that it was dismissed. It'll show up on her criminal history, but the charge was dismissed. If she is found guilty, it'll show up as she was guilty of domestic assault. But the charge itself will show up on her criminal history until she gets it expunged. Now, even if we give her a ticket, we're still going to take a fingerprint, and it's still going to show up. Either way, it's still going to show up. There's no way around a Class A. Or is this Class B?
This is Class B.
But they do require a fingerprint on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
The other part is if you contact her or she contacts you, she can be charged with a Class A.
Well...
Which is a little bit different, but it doesn't help us.
If you were to contact her and she responds to you, then she could get a new charge for violating the no contact order. The no contact order doesn't restrict you, it restricts her. So if you go talk to her and we find out you're not in trouble, she'll be in trouble. So it's in your interest to... Does that all make sense?
No, I'm getting it all.
It's a lot, really quick.
No, I'm getting it all. I'm just trying to figure out a way through it.
You don't know anyone in town? You guys been here how long?
No, I don't know anyone in town. If she went...
She could... I don't think CK will take her where she's the aggressor.
No.
It is a women's shelter.
I'm curious.
You could find out and say, hey, she doesn't have where to go.
If you did the citation, say she drove off she could drive off in this car.
We could give you a ride somewhere.
I got my backpack.
Sucks for you, but
I got my backpack.
You can spend a night.
You want to drive me to Delicate Art?
Does she have a good driver's license? And
she does have a driver's license.
You trust her with your vehicle? And
yeah, she can handle it.
Well, then you'd kind of be homeless for the night around town.
And man, I can't talk to her at all.
Well,
and I've got to do the thing, so I can't go camping.
We can tell her what it is that she needs to do to get through all this, and then let her know what your plan is.
Here's the problem, though. If we take you up to Delicate Arch, you're going to be hoofing it from Delicate Arch all the way down to Moab Center Street, so that you can fill out that paperwork. Because if you're not there by noon tomorrow, you're going to be looking at Monday morning.
Because it's early out Fridays over the office, so you won't be there afternoon.
You'd be looking at Monday morning before you could actually see her again.
And again, we're not trying to make your life hard, but this is written in statute. There's nothing we can do about it. It's designed to protect victims of domestic assault. Not everybody's the same. This is different than normal, but we have to treat everything the same. And that's just how it is.
So do you think they can't afford a hotel?
No?
Very little money we have, for sure.
Hotels are expensive here now.
You want me to? I'll call CK then.
Just see if CK will take her for the night.
I'll see if they'll take either one of them.
This is a women's shelter. Actually, CK will take him as a victim of domestic assault. CK will take you, and they will help you tomorrow.
And you're like a block and a half away from the PD.
Let's see if CK will take him, because they actually they didn't take a guy, but they got a hotel for a guy last time.
Yeah, I'll do that.
CK might get you a hotel. Okay. Now, what she does...
I might be sleeping outside in a sleeping bag.
No,
so I don't need a hotel.
I think CK will get you a hotel. If you want her to have the van, we don't care. It's up to you. But there's nothing we can do about the rest.
I don't want to open my car. I'm just trying to think. I gotta grab my... I gotta make like a little bag.
You sweating to death yet?
I think we're good.
You good? I'm going to talk to you real quick, but I've been talking so much, I got to get some water. I'll be right back. Let me grab the water. Now this is the water. It's cold water.
That's how we get visitors.
Oh, yeah? Okay, Gabby, when you grow up and you're a full-grown man, this is what you'll drink from. Plus, it's ice cold, and so I'm going to drink from it. Sorry.
I can still hear the ice.
You'll probably never be a full-grown man.
And then you do curls.
Then you can do your curls. So, look, I'm going to speak to you frankly. I have a daughter almost your age, and I'm looking at you not so much like a suspect, but also as kind of a victim, in the sense that you're dealing with some struggles emotionally and mentally at your age. Probably they'll work themselves out as you get older. There's a lot of angst at your age, and I remember being your age too. And hopefully it works itself out. But the stuff you did today that contributed to this, because you both contributed to this, is as a result of your inability to cope with the anxiety and the stress that you're having. So in a way, you're kind of a victim of this. I think you would have done better if you had the skills to do better. But you don't learn skills until you learn skills, and you don't have enough life experience yet to know how to navigate everything. Like, I don't either, but I can navigate what happened. If I was in your shoes, I could handle it different because I'm 39 years old. I've been through it. But I've got a lot of life lessons to learn still, because I'm like my dad and my grandpas, they know stuff I don't know, right? They can do stuff I don't know. So in a way, I'm just letting you know that we sympathize with you. But based on what you've said, and based on what our witness has said, and even based on what your fiance has mentioned, trying his very hardest not to have you in any trouble, he does have marks on him that witnesses say were caused by you slapping him. And that even you say you slapped him and were aggressing him first. And I don't have anyone saying that he actually punched you aggressively. It sounds like it was shoving in a manner that was probably more consistent with trying to prevent you from entering the van, or to get space from you, not to assail you. Does that make sense? So if the tables were turned and he was beating on you and you were shoving him, of course we're going to look at it like, oh, of course she's defending herself to get away from this guy. Well, we're kind of looking at the same way with him, and we have to treat both fair, even if he's a bigger male and you're a smaller female. The law doesn't say, hey, Officer Pratt and Officer Robbins, you can treat people different based on gender under the same, so we can't. Even if it makes no sense that because you probably could not physically destroy this man the way that he could if he attacked you, we can't treat you different, okay? So all that long-windedness I'm giving you right now is leading up to the fact that if I pull someone over for speeding, I have the right to give them a warning. I have something called officer discretion. But in the legislature in Utah, they have made a law that if we have a domestic assault, they don't trust the police to make good decisions because too many cops have made bad decisions. So they say, we're not going to give you discretion. We're going to write a law that says if you have a domestic assault, whether it's male on female or female on male, whoever the primary aggressor is has to be charged. No choice. You don't get to give them a warning. It doesn't even matter if they barely hurt at all and the guy doesn't want to press charges, or the girl doesn't want to press charges. We don't have a choice. We literally have no choice. He does not want to press charges. He says you guys are a team. He says you're his fiance. He says he loves you. He says he doesn't want anything to happen. But we're explaining to him that we don't have any choice in this. So we're trying to get a local victims advocacy group called Sea Haven to get him a hotel for the night, so that you can have the van, because they won't give you the hotel because you're the one who is the primary aggressor. So they're going to consider him the victim. So they're going to get him a hotel. So he wants you so that you don't have to go to jail, because the only thing we can do is take you to jail. He says, well, so she doesn't have to go to jail, then I will accept Sea Haven's help if they'll give me a hotel, and then she can have the van, so she doesn't have to go to jail. She can just have a ticket. When you get the ticket, it's going to give you a phone number to call, and they're going to give you a court date, and that court date will probably be online.
Do I have to come back to Utah?
No, it'll be online.
Oh.
You have a smartphone?
Yeah.
So you can. I go to court. You're okay.
Sorry, I've never heard of this. I didn't know
Yeah.
this was in
When
Utah.
COVID happened, they switched all the court from in person to online. So when I go to court now,
I have a ticket for hitting the curb or something, please, because we're okay. Like, where does it
I understand, but we don't have any, like. Listen, if I had any discretion in this, I would separate you guys for the day and just give you warnings to stop hitting each other. But I lawfully don't have discretion here. I don't have any.
Because somebody said something, like a witness said something.
But there's two witnesses, and then there's what you said and what he said, and guess what? It all matches nicely that you were the primary aggressor, and that the injuries he has were caused by your aggression towards him. Even if he doesn't feel hurt, even if he doesn't want to press charges, there's nothing any cop can do about it. It's written into the law.
I know that. I don't.
Normally we take people to jail, but he's trying to work it so you can just have the van. Tomorrow,
I don't want to be separated.
you can have anxiety?
Yeah, no, we're a team, please.
There's no, what is it?
No, wait, we're a team, please. It's gonna give me so much anxiety. Can we just have like a driving ticket?
Okay, the very best thing I can do is call my supervisor and see if I'm missing something here.
Because if I'll pay any driving ticket, a parking ticket, anything.
Okay, Gabby,
If that'd be better.
try to calm down, and I'm gonna go call a supervisor. But I don't think that there's much I can do, but let me see if the supervisor can tell me something I'm missing to make this not happen.
I can't feel over and I couldn't handle that, I'm sorry.
Just give me a minute, okay? You don't have to sit out in the hot sun unless you want. Okay, thanks. Hey, so a tiny little girl, 22 years old, slapped her boyfriend, her fiance, several times. He's got a little bit of a little tiny abrasion on his chin, on his jaw. They got into a van and drove off. They got called in by there's one caller and then a witness. Got them stopped. The story from the witnesses matches the story from the female, matches the story to the male. She was pissed off, she's having a rough day, he tries to separate from her, she's not staying away from him, she has severe anxiety problems. He locks her out of the van, says you need to go for a walk and cool off. She's forcing her way into the van, she's clawing her way past him into the van to be with him. He's shoving her to get her out of the van, but he's not assaulting her, or he's not assailing her, he's trying to keep her out. She's punching, slapping, everything. She's got to be 105 pounds soaking wet, 22, full of anxiety, having a really tough time. Not making excuses, but I mean, it is written into code. We do have a domestic assault here. He's not wanting to pursue it. He's very adamant. He does not want to pursue it. We're explaining we don't have any discretion on these things. We're giving him a no contact. We're letting Seek Haven see if they can get him a hotel so she can have the van so that we don't have to put her in jail. She's really struggling with the idea of being alone and not with him and not having the van. They want to be together. I told her, look, there's not anything I can do. This is all written into freaking statute. I just said the last thing I can do is call a supervisor and see if where this is such a minor. It was like a slap fight, and the injury is from a fingernail. I just don't know if it's worth the whole domestic thing or not, or if it's going to get some trouble if we don't do it this way. Well, they don't want to, but I told them that unless I get some kind of permission some other way, I'm pretty sure this is just statute and that we have to separate you. As far as the domestic assault charge, what do you think about that? Well, I mean, do the whole thing or not? But is there a way to not do anything on something like this? I mean, it's so minor. It's hard to say, right? I'm going to go reread the statute and just see if it fits or if there's a way it doesn't fit. And if I can find a way that, because it really is this. The spirit of the law is being lost on this one. It really is. So let me see what I can find, and if nothing else, then we'll have to separate him whether she likes it or not. All right, thanks. All right, bye. Thanks. Bye. Bodily injury means physical pain, illness, or any impairment of physical condition. So let's see. He's not ill. He doesn't have an impairment of physical condition. And if he's not in pain, like how far do you want to go with this? Like, you know why the domestic assault code is there. It's there to protect people, especially the reason why they don't give us discretion on these things is because too many times women who are at risk want to go back to their abuser. They just wanted him to stop, and they don't want to have to be separated. They don't want him charged. They don't want him to go to jail, and then they end up getting worse and worse treatment, and then they end up getting killed. Mm-hmm. In no way, shape, or form that I can perceive does what happened here, a little slap fight between fiancés who love each other, want to be together, can I perceive that this is going to digress into the situation where he's going to be a battered man?
Right.
But then again, I don't have a crystal ball. So I was looking at I talked to the assistant chief to see if there's any way to just go less than than the full force domestic assault route.
Right.
And he says, look, I mean, you either go all the way or you don't. And it's like, okay, but under what circumstances can I not? And really the only time I cannot is if it doesn't fit. If it fits, then it's in the law, then you have to do it. So I went and I looked at the code for assault, because this is an assault enhanced with domestic assault. Utah Code assault. Now you and I both know what it is, but think of how valuable it is to look it up and read it word for word, especially when what you're doing is going to get evaluated by a court who cares a lot about words. Words are there for a reason. Assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. So did she attempt to do bodily injury to him?
She went to smack him.
Was it her intention to do him bodily injury? Now, that's what we have to find out, because it says bodily injury is, that by definition, physical pain, illness, or any impairment of physical condition.
Well, he's got a swollen right eye.
We don't care what the result was, we care about the intent.
So we gotta go find intent.
If she did not intend to cause him pain or illness, or to cause him impairment of physical condition.
Was it intent and attempt, or intent or attempt?
When you're attempting to do something, you have to intend to do it.
True.
If I attempt to get a basketball through a hoop, I have to intend to do it. Intent is implicit with attempt.
Right.
Okay, so what was her intent? What was her intention? If you go ask her, what was your intention when you were slapping him, and she says, I wanted him to hurt or be ill or impair his physical condition, then there's nothing we can do.
Okay.
One way to word it might be, hey, when you slapped him, were you intending to cause him physical pain? And let's get rid of illness, because it has nothing to do with it. Physical pain or impairment of his physical condition. Was that your intention? Is that what you were attempting to do? That's what it says right here, an attempt.
Right.
Were you attempting to cause him pain or an impairment of physical condition? Whatever she answers to that question will seal her fate. Because the only way you know what she was attempting to do is by asking her.
Right.
Set it up right. Set it up just right.
That's how people laugh someone heard that way.
Gabby, this is a very, very important question. How you answer this question is going to determine what happens next. But the only person who can answer this question is you.
Okay.
Think very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer it. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do to him?
No.
What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff? What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop telling me to come back.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call. This is 100% your call. I support you either way.
Say that I did very legally. She openly admitted to me earlier that she was striking him in the arm. He said that she was striking him in the arm. He said she was, and that's what caused him to hit the curb. She said that she grabbed her. I might have this to myself, probably.
No, she said that too, that she started distracting him by hitting him, and that he probably looked at her, and that's why the mark is on the window side. She said it's her fault that he swerved because she was distracting him by hitting him. But she said she didn't try to hurt him, it wasn't malicious, she thought that he wasn't listening to her.
So assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. The code for bodily injury, the definition says, bodily injury is infliction of pain or physical impairment or illness. So you can go. Now, I'm recording, and society and the judges and everyone can judge me for this. I am looking at a 110-pound female and her fiance who have no means to be separated. He doesn't want to pursue it. She's not a threat to him, more than slight abrasions from her fingernails. I don't care if we use the actual letter of the law to not charge, but I also don't care because it literally does possibly make perfect sense to go full-on domestic assault and do the whole thing. This is your opportunity to make the decision.
Let's do this.
I support you either way.
Let's do this. Taking your advice, let me do a crime report on this. Won't charge right now. Won't cite her for it right now. We'll send it off to the county attorney. City attorney, because it is a county. Send it off to the city attorney. Let them screen it and make a decision.
If you send it to the city attorney and they strongly disagree with your decision and they throw a complete fit, you might hear about it in a very negative way.
Right.
So I would make a decision yourself.
I'd rather be dinged for a decision I made than a decision I didn't make.
Especially if they think you were completely negligent in your decision. Why give it to them? The only reason to give it to them is if you're not sure if you have enough for something and you want them to decide if they have enough. So I support you. I'm not joking. If we need to go all the way to jail or whatever we need to do, all the way down to
3 years out.
Go ahead. I better go on that. You got this?
I'm making this decision. I'm going to cite him. I'm going to go follow through the process.
Would you feel more comfortable handling that guy?
Yeah.
Go handle that guy then.
Go handle that guy?
Go handle that guy.
Okay.
If you're more comfortable.
Well, it's 6 one way, half dozen the other.
It's up to you.
I mean, it's a headache whether I go left or it's a headache whether I go right.
Another option is to not charge them but separate them for the night. If they find themselves together again, what is it to you? You separated them. You provided for his safety. If he doesn't have enough sense to stay away and you got him separated, it's on him.
You can't babysit them all night unless they're in jail, so it's up to them what happens after the
You can separate them and say, don't let this go off till tomorrow. If they don't let it go off and we hear about it, we'll hear about it.
They're camping in the park tonight. We'll let you know.
And if there's some fighting going on, you already was Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah.
You already gave him a chance. What you can't do by law is separate someone and say, if we hear from you again, we're going to arrest one of you. Because then if one of them really needs help, they may not call police and get help. The law says you cannot, literally, you may not say, if we get more problems with you guys tonight, one of you is going to jail. You can't threaten like that if it's true, because it will stop someone from wanting to call the police to get help. Does that make sense?
Right.
So go full or nothing or in between and separate them and kind of give them the nod, the wink, like, hey, you know, just stay separated. It's up to you. I'm going to go handle that. You got very capable help with you here, and I trust you.
All right.
Call me if you have any problems. SOTT, I'll separate. I'll be en route to that intoxicated male. I just want to say thank you guys for helping us. Appreciate you. You too.